Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Well, my friends, we're at 1,000 days, and I appreciate all the support and the help, and you guys are tremendous, and I think we're going to continue battling on every day. But today we're going to talk about long streaks. Make sure my light's on here. Long streaks and being able to continue for long periods of time. So thank you guys, and hopefully we'll get another 1,000 days, and we'll keep moving along as time goes on. So God bless you guys, and we'll continue going. So today we are going to talk about long streaks, intoxicating power, but also things like withdrawal, and a lot of different shoutouts here. Also, is it less sleep you get? All kinds of different advantages I've seen over the last 1,000 days to be able to do this. So a couple of shout outs first before we do that. Let me see who I'm looking at. I got a whole long list of people. So let me kind of start by Frederick Gray, my friend, warrior, do not give up. I know that we struggle, lots of us struggle back and forth, but don't give up, keep trying. Jon the Dawn, thank you, my friend. Xoliswa Zoko, thank you. I think I know I'm saying that right. Optical Man, it's no big deal. You're right, my friend. No sex, no big deal. I think we focus so much in this society on trying the importance of sex that really it's not as important as people believe it is, but we're brainwashed in this matrix that we're looking at, that sex is the biggest thing in the world. And guys, when you really think about it, warriors, it's only one aspect of life, and in fact, it's not a big aspect at all, really, when you look at this. All right, but thank you. Vladimir Jobanov, thank you, my friend. Food and SR, we're going to talk about that on a video one of these days. I think it's very important. And Jonathan Howard, tax death, and a Vigor Warrior video. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And only Zol, thank you, my friend, as well. And I think Thomas Van der Sman, thank you, my friend. And Kinglyman again. And keep going, my friend. Keep trying again, and we'll continue getting it done. So, all right. So that's enough for today. We'll continue working on these shout-outs and get through these things. But let's kind of talk about several ideas here when it comes to a long streak. And I'm going to start with Jack Crispy 69, who actually talks about the energy and the power. And that does not leave you, my friends. That does not leave you at all. That is something that is strong within you no matter how many days you go. It's just a matter of noticing it more than not noticing it. It really is kind of a matter of, as time goes on, you kind of take it for granted. But the key idea, my friends, is that the fact that you have this energy. And a lot of times you can't, it's hard to control this energy. That's why transmuting, that's why keeping busy, that's why doing these things that keep your goals going are really important. And I know I had one person mention about trying to do other transmutation things, and I'm going to focus on that on a separate video. Other things besides some of the exercises that Kelder talks about in the Fountain of Youth book, but also just other types of breathing types exercises. I'm trying to kind of give you guys a balance of them all, because I think it's important to kind of use a lot of different ways to transmute that energy, so that's not sitting down there in one of those chakras and you're not really using it and moving it. That's why the exercise is so important, because you're moving the chakras and keeping them going, and that's how you end up staying young and healthy, I believe, all through your days, or as much as you can. So Thomas Van Smorn, Thomas is asking also about withdrawals and things that can happen on a long streak, so I kind of included that into this discussion a little bit. So Thomas, my friend, I think the issue really is as you go longer, what I've experienced at least, is the fact that you have to have a more of awareness of what's going on around you and the temptations, and you become more aware. You become stronger in your dedication to this. You can become stronger in your perseverance, but you also become more aware of things around you. And as we talked about a few minutes ago, not having sex for a period of time makes you aware of a lot of other things around you. You're not just focusing on women the whole time. You're now focusing on the world around you, and so you become a lot more aware of things, and you can see things and perceive things, and this is why you can be a lot more successful in business, in relationships, and things like that, because you're not focusing just on the sexual act, which is just one part of life, even though we make it a big part of life in our society, because this is what sells, sex and all those type of things. And the thing is that that is not, as time goes on, what I found out in my 61 years here on this earth is that it's not as important as it seems. And I think that's the thing that we are kind of misled a little bit in society, and that's why we bring up these issues and talk about these issues a little bit. But it is intoxicating. It can be something that really takes other people over, and it could take you over as well, especially if you're not really transmuting it. And I think that goes back to the key with it. Is a relationship with God? I mean, Thomas is also talking about the fact that you're tired. You can be if you're not really. If you're not really transmuting it, or you're basically in a position where you have a lot of stress. So what I would do, Thomas, is I would sit and say, okay, what else is going on in my life? Because you can get tired if you're at the point where you're not really relaxed. And what happens, and this is just my experiences again, as you do this more, you become more relaxed within yourself. I don't have nearly the amount of anger or things that I had when I was releasing all the time. I have nowhere near the amount of that. I'm a lot more relaxed, and therefore everything is more flowing to me than flowing away from me. It's like a river. You're flowing with the river, again, not against the river. And I think that's the whole thing when it comes to retention and all this idea. So if you're having effects on semen retention, there's probably other things going on that are important to kind of look at to see, okay, are there things can I do to relieve that stress? Stress is a big energy killer. So we're talking about, guys, when we talk about energy, we're not just talking about the physical energy of releasing to, talking about pictures and things like that. We're talking about the emotional energy people go through with levels of stress and levels of emotional turmoil, depression, all these type of things. These suck the energy of you dry. And I don't care if it's physical or it's emotional, it's still energy you're using to deal with these situations. So chances are, and this is what my experience has been, when I've had situations where I didn't have the effects as strong as I did before during this last 1,000 days, it was really because I had some stress going on, other things going on, and I didn't really kind of focus on letting life just flow. There's an old saying that I heard once talking about that you have to kind of, like with trees when they're in a storm, you have to kind of bend like the willow. You know how willows bend back and forth during storms, and the oak don't break like the oak. So bend like the willow, but don't break like the oak. That means you kind of have to flow with what's happening and try not to let that stress get to you to the point where it kind of messes you up and everything. Cecillo talks about less sleep. I think that it's important to kind of focus on this as well. You're going to have a lot more energy. And once again, if things are flowing and you don't have a lot of all the stress in your life and you're eating the right kind of foods, again, don't be eating a lot of carbohydrates, sugar that's going to, kind of mess up some of these effects. And I mean mess up in the sense of you're not concentrating because you're taking so much sugar and things like that. Then I would basically kind of, once again, you're flowing. And so that's important. And you're going to need less sleep because you have a lot more energy to do things. And you know this because you'll see this. If you don't have a lot of stress in your life and you're on retention, your life is you're going to be able to stay up all night if you wanted to and not need a lot of sleep. Obviously we need some sleep, but you're not going to need a lot of sleep. So Cecilia, you're right about that. I agree with you there. And Mike, Mike has also mentioned the fact relationship with God and you're calmer. Yes, I believe you're also calmer with that as well. So thank you, Mike, for your comment. All these kind of things come together. flexxjudd also talks about the fact that your relationship with God is important when it comes to a long streak. I believe that's the case. That's what I think happens when I go for long streaks. I'm doing this mainly to get closer to God, and I think that's an important type of aspect in this whole thing. And it's important to realize that's what happens. The more and more you're holding your nutrients in, the more you're getting closer to God, and those type of things make a big difference. So that's a good thing too. And then Optical Man no sex, no big deal. Again, we talk about this, guys. So we talk about the long streak. We're talking about the idea that the sexual energy you have is there for a lot of reasons, not just for sex. That really is for procreation, in my viewpoint. And the idea is that you need to use these things for a lot of other things to accomplish in the world. It's not just for the idea of going around and trying to, chase every woman you can chase and do those things. Those things are very destructive in your life. And we know that. The 1% Club knows this. We know that we shouldn't be doing this. But what we're doing this for, the videos are, is because temptation is very great. And we have to kind of make sure we're aware of the temptation and how hard it is to stay on the streak. As many of you know, it's very difficult. Guys, I'm at 1,000 days now, but it took 47 years to do this. So hopefully you guys will be on a lot longer streaks, a lot sooner than I have. But I think God gave me a purpose in doing this now and doing these videos and kind of talking about it and having some fun with it, but also being very serious about it, to be able to go ahead and say, this is something that I think is affecting a lot of especially our younger people in our world, and that we need to kind of do something about it. So this is my feeble but try to make effort to try to do this and help you, as many people as possible. So, all right, guys, enough for this morning. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll try to do one tomorrow if I can. But until then, guys, 2 things to remember and keep in mind. First of all, every day is a new day to a great warrior. Also, always a new day. And secondly, my friends, don't forget to battle!